This video is made possible by Max at Naperville Cadillac. Naperville Cadillac offers no BS pricing, meaning what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees, the way car buying should be.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2023 Acura Integra A-Spec. Up front is a 1.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Acura Integra for a couple of reasons. It's manual, it's the A-Spec trim level, which is the only way you could get a manual, but also this marks the return of the Integra name to Acura's lineup. The Acura Integra was a 1990s sports car, and I've driven one here on the channel, and then it later morphed into the RSX in the early 2000s, but Acura kind of gave up on it and they stopped producing it. Well, now for the 2023 model year, the Integra is back. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpraddle.com, where you can buy stickers and other merch when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you can get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 1.5 liter turbo under the hood. Well, it makes about 200 horsepower, and it's what you would also find in the Honda Civic and Civic Si. It is an Earth Dreams engine, which Honda has been using for a couple of years now. And 200 horsepower isn't anything bad. I think it's a very respectable amount, especially for a vehicle like this. The original Integra and RSX made under 200 horsepower, so at least it is a decent bump over that. Like I said, paired to its 6-speed manual transmission. Now you can either get the Integra with the 6-speed manual, or you can get it with the CVT, but do not buy the CVT. Buy the manual transmission. It feels amazing. It clicks into gear, and Acura is producing a manual transmission now. They haven't done that since, I believe, 2014 with the ILX. So we must celebrate them bringing the manual transmission back to their lineup. So I cannot recommend this manual transmission enough. It feels amazing. It's just the best. Last but not least, the Integra is front-wheel drive. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a digital gauge cluster along with 2 analog gauges. Off to the left is coolant temperature and off to the right is fuel, but then I get that digital gauge cluster in the center that I can customize, and when I change drive modes, the colors do change slightly and things like that. I love seeing that in cars with screens. I think it's the best. I think you should be able to customize them as much as you want, and the Integra gives you a pretty healthy amount of customization. I also do get a heads-up display, which is a really nice feature here for the Integra and something you don't get on the normal Civic. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my skip track, volume, and voice commands, and on the right, I do have my cruise control and steering assist options. Very nice. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my traction control off button. Moving on to the door, I have 2 different memory seat options, the ELS Studio 3D audio system, which is just the upgraded, nicer speakers, and then I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows on the door. Moving into the center, I do have my infotainment system. Now, it's been a while since I've been in a brand new Acura, and this is basically Honda's system with different icons and such. I really like it. I think it's simple. I think it's easy to use. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as Amazon Alexa, which I apologize if you have an Alexa wherever you are listening. Alexa, play some hot garbage. But anyway, I really like this infotainment system. I think it's clear, concise, and simple. It's not crazy. And the backup camera is pretty nice. They get what Hondas get, which is multiple different camera views that you can cycle through. You can get a fisheye, closer up, whatever view you want. I think that that's really special and really useful in modern cars. Coming down below that infotainment system, we do have 2 more climate control vents, as well as a hazard switch. The hazard switch kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. Kind of interesting, but definitely Honda's current design language in their vehicles. Then I do have the climate controls themselves. I get heated seats, I get dual zone climate controls, as well as fan speed off in the center. And I love the fan speed dial, has this great clickiness to it. overall, these buttons feel amazing. Down below all of that, we do have a traditional USB as well as a USB-C for charging, a 12-volt outlet, and a wireless charger in the center console. Very, very nice there. Moving on to the center console itself, we do have our drive modes off to the left. So we have normal, sport, and comfort, as well as individual mode. I can hit a button and then customize what I would like. So I can adjust the engine, steering, suspension, idle stop, and gauge cluster. So tons of cool customization options there. I do also want to say that in sport mode, you do get auto rev matching, which is awesome. Then I do have my automatic start stop on and off button, my power parking brake and brake hold, and then we have the shifter off to the right. First of all, the shift knob looks like an aftermarket shift knob you would have gotten in your late 90s Integra back in the day, and I love that. It has a great look and feel to it, great weight to it, and this shifter is just one of the best parts of the car. It feels amazing. It has that awesome click into gear that Honda and Acura are so well known for. The clutch isn't too heavy, isn't too light. I cannot say enough good things about this shifter setup. Get the manual, get the manual, get the manual. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Acura Integra, and it goes down slightly, but the bottle won't sit at the bottom of the cup holder, unfortunately, and it does rattle around and fall over when I take a corner, and these cup holders are just in a terrible spot for the manual transmission. I understand that this was kind of the only spot they could have put them. However, not the best if you're shifting gears. This bottle's too tall and it hits my wrist. Then I do get a center console with nothing in it, and then the seats are kind of interesting. They do have a little bit higher bolsters, but they're half leather, half this cloth material in the center to kind of help hold you in. Now what's interesting is that the back seats don't get the same cloth, but we'll talk about that in a second. I like the seats. They are power, heated, and memory, so out of a vehicle like this, they do everything I would want. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the brand new 2023 Acura Integra A-Spec. A couple of things to note back here. First of all, the space. I'm 5'11". My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head starting to touch the ceiling a little bit, but not that big of a deal. Honda in their new products are very, very good about the backseat space. I said the same thing about the Civic hatch and other vehicles like that. So they are very, very good when it comes to space back here. What's interesting is that the back seats don't get the same material as the front seats. I find that kind of interesting. Other than that, I do get two USB chargers down below, kind of interesting there. And then I do get a center console, two cup holders down here, and that's pretty much it. Let's hop around back. We'll take a look at the hatch, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the brand new 2023 Acura Integra. Little button down in here. And then, as you can see, it is a hatchback, which is kind of interesting. Now, these are the A-Spec floor mats. Obviously, because this is a new car, we don't want to scuff these up for the next owner. However, you do get this nice A-Spec. This is rubber. This isn't like a sticker. This is actually rubberized material, which is very, very nice. I get a little cargo net over there, and I can put these second row or back seats down if I would like, which makes this car very, very versatile. I love this because this is kind of hearkening back to the 90s. A lot of cars were hatchbacks in the 90s, and so this is kind of still in that same era. I don't think it makes the back end of the car look super pleasing, but it is super, super functional. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I'm very torn on this. A lot of people say that it looks a lot like the TLX or a lot like other Acuras in the lineup. It wasn't special enough, things like that. And to a degree, I do understand that. I think it doesn't have its own personality and look quite yet. I've seen 4 of these on the road and then turned and looked at the back and realized that they were ILXs and not Integras. I hope that later generations or later years they come out with some sort of defining feature that would make these stand out in the crowd. One thing I absolutely love about the exterior are the bumpers. It says Integra embossed into the bumper. That's not a badge, it's not a stick-on, no glue. It's actually embossed into the bumper like they used to do in the 1990s, and I think that that is awesome. It's such a cool way to throw back and sort of give this historical relevance to this car while still keeping it fresh and modern. I think that's really, really special and hands down my favorite part of the exterior. But now let's get to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving the new Acura Integra? It's so nice to say those words together. Well, I love it. I really like this car. Let's get the downsides out of the way. The exterior isn't my favorite just because it doesn't have its own signature look. I think it's a good looking car. I just don't think it's different enough from the rest of Acura's lineup to really feel special. And that's okay. I'm also not a big fan of it having a power parking brake, although that is the industry standard, so I'm not going to complain. Let's talk about what I do love. I love the interior. I think it's simple and basic enough, but still fresh and modern. I like the digital gauge cluster. I like the features that you get in here, like the wireless charger, the heated seats, several different backup cameras. Very nice. But the best thing, the creme de la creme, is that manual transmission. Not only because it feels amazing, not only because it's one of the best manual transmissions I've felt in the last couple of years, but because Acura is making a manual transmission again. They stopped for a while, and like most luxury brands, they gave up on the manual. Lexus hasn't made a manual for over 10 years, but now Acura is making one again. This is one new car that wasn't available last year that is this year with a manual transmission. When was the last time an automaker came out with a brand new vehicle? Not just a continuation of a vehicle, but a completely new vehicle and offered it with a manual. I can't think of one. The Nissan Z is just a continuation of the 370, so I don't really count that one as being a new manual. This is a new car with a manual transmission, and I think we need to praise that. I think we need to write letters to Acura and say thank you. Thank you for letting us have a manual. And hopefully that gets reflected in the sales number. I hope people go out and buy these cars and enjoy them and enjoy the manual transmission, because the biggest thing that matters in the automotive world is money. Money talks. If a manufacturer sells a lot of cars with a manual transmission, guess what? They're going to make a lot more cars with a manual transmission. That is what I love. That is what makes this car so special, and that's why I was so excited to drive it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Max at Cadillac of Naperville. This is one of their vehicles on the lot. Cadillac of Naperville is great at buying cars when they're hot. They know what's selling right now, and the Integra is definitely one of those vehicles. Max is absolutely awesome. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this car, please let him know. Reach out to him. His information is down in the description below. If you want to buy this Integra, it's available right now, and you could drive away in one of the coolest, best cars of 2022. That's pretty special. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.